Hey everybody, it's Alicia Brown with the Urban Key founder here. Definitely want to thank every single one of you all for tuning in this evening. So, have another special guest. I'm super excited to introduce to you all the founder of Jon Basil Tequila out of Chicago, Uduimoh. Everybody,
Yes.
please welcome him. He's awesome. And one of the reasons that I wanted to bring you on is because you don't meet people every day that own their own tequila brand. So I was just definitely intrigued. And then, a young black male, I was just proud of you without even, knowing you and really knowing your story. So I thought it'd be cool to just kind of have you
Thank you.
on and get into it. So how are you?
Thank you, Alicia. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Super excited to be on the show. So thank you for having me and definitely appreciate it. Uh, it's a good day though. It's wrapping up the day, so I'm definitely
Yeah,
finishing it with a quick glass of JB.
I'm not
But
mad at that. Well, listen, before we, get into tequila talk, I want to get to know a little bit about the man behind the brand. So walk us through, your story. Where are you from?
so I'm from Chicago, born and raised. I was born over on Howard Street, so Rogers Park. Born and raised in Chicago. My mother is of Ghanaian descent, and my dad is of Nigerian descent. Um, so I was fortunate enough to also be able to live in Ghana when I was about
Oh,
9
wow.
to 11, which definitely kind of shaped a lot of. I think it definitely propelled my mind into thinking more um, creatively and critically about like the environment that I was a part of. But yeah, moved back to Chicago when I was about 11. So I spent about 2 years overseas, which was great. Um, and I went to Bonsteuben, so CPS school. From there, went to University of Illinois, so down in Champaign.
Nice.
So
What did you major in?
I majored in advertising. I started and initially I thought I was going to be a lawyer, so I was doing political science, the whole political science thing.
Yeah.
Very quickly realized
It's
that
hard.
I was it was tough, but I also couldn't sit still long enough to complete all of the different readings. I was very into ideas, and I was very into really kind of shaping plans and just thinking of things and thinking of ways to solve problems. So I kind of gradually transitioned into advertising, and I partnered that with a minor in business focused around entrepreneurship.
Nice. That's excellent. You're so well rounded. I want to touch back on, you said Ghana, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you said it made you think creatively. A lot of us haven't been to Africa, let alone Ghana. So what's it like there? And tell us a little bit more about what that experience was like.
It's crazy because I was actually I just got back from Ghana this past January. I try to go every year now, just because it's so fast paced, and you really start to see that the future of the world is literally intertwined with these emerging markets. So
Yeah.
my mom lives back there in Ghana. She's lived there since I was young. So I try to go back for the holidays. And I was thinking about when I actually lived there and how the street that our house was on was completely dirt. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't paved. And now the entire kind of area that we live in is fully paved. They're building all these different high rises, and I'm just like, wow. I remember when this was literally a dirt road,
Yeah.
So I think when you go from an environment like, so growing up here, being in Chicago, just going to school here, and then being completely dropped into that environment where things, I mean, it's a third world country, so it literally feels like a different world. I think you start to ask yourself certain questions like, why are certain basic needs like running water or electricity, why is that a hurdle in this place? And I think you start to realize that there's problems that need to be solved. So you start, a thing when you're younger, because you're so creative and you weren't distracted by so much, you start to try to figure out little ways and solutions to solve those problems. So I think um, if I can really, really pinpoint it, and I've been trying to pinpoint it, I think that's probably what um, that was probably the entrepreneurial bug that kind of got me into thinking more of building and more in terms of ownership. Uh, that kind of propelled me on the path I'm on now. So
Okay. Well, let me transition. Let me ask you this. So, what made you jump into the liquor industry? You advertising major. How did you go from advertising to I want my own brand?
um, it was a lot. It was a lot, Alicia. But it started, I would say, I think, initially I was working on an application at school. I kind of graduated. I didn't take any full time offers. I was really focused on building this app, and the app was around experiences. Um, I think as I started to realize what I wanted to, what I wanted my next 10 years to look like, I knew I wanted it to kind of align with experiences that, I feel positively about, right?
Yes.
So it got to the point where I realized a lot of times when we're kind of, whenever we're celebrating or anytime we're in good spirits, we happen to be sipping on a libation, as you would say.
Yep.
Um, and from there, it really started to kind of pique my interest into into the business aspect of it. It was really like over a conversation I was having with some buddies, and I was also pretty heavily in the music space on the business side of those things, working with a lot of people who kind of came up as like major musicians now out of Chicago, um, and there were a lot of brands that were approaching us and they wanted to always kind of intertwine their products with these experiences that were organic and authentic to ourselves, that we were kind of creating to enhance like our way of life and to make sure that the memories that we have in the time that we have, we're fun,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. And I think it really started. I started to realize I was like, okay, there's obviously something powerful about our culture and about the way we shape our time, and we really have to start creating products that enhance those moments for ourselves, and we got to own those products. So it stemmed from that, and over time I just kind of got a lot more serious about it. And after we graduated, I called up my partner who's my partner now, who is a really good friend from school. His name's Billy, and I was like, man, we were joking about it back then in college, but I feel like now's the best time to really start putting our foot towards it. Not to mention, I think I was really affected by the financial crisis that happened.
In
So I
oh
knew
08.
yeah, in '08, we had lost our home, and during that crisis, I just saw a lot of lack during that time, and I realized I knew I needed to have a business that was recession proof and a business that could kind of stand during the tough times, during the happy times, the sad times, and liquor happened to be one of the industries that could kind of stand the test of time, because we celebrate, we kind of have a drink. Sometimes if we're reminiscing or we're sad, we'll also have a drink. So there's a
I love that
factor of
you are
two.
so forward thinking, in a time, especially back in '08 when, people were really going through, especially if you were in college, you were in that critical moment of, hey, I might not find a job, and people could not find jobs, or people were, like you said, losing homes and things like that. So to have that forward thinking, to start a business, to be brave. I just want to commend you for being
Thank
brave and
you.
just following through. Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Let me I want to switch gears. So tell us about Jon Basil, the brand. Where does that name come from? Because you're not John. And I was looking for John on Instagram and I couldn't find him. So
so so the name Jon Basil it's really a family name, and
okay.
traditionally when so this is on my dad's side of things. He's Nigerian. Traditionally, in his culture, you're supposed to name your first son after your father. So my oldest brother, who was his first son, right away, the first name has to be Jon, which was my grandfather's name.
Oh, nice.
And Basil was pretty much like my father. He became like my father's godfather, because he was just so integral in helping him when he got to the States. Really kind of making sure that he was just on the right path and trying to find different ways to assist him in his transition here, because he's the first of his family to ever step foot on this continent. That this Basil person became so prominent to him that when he was naming his first son, he combined those two names. So my oldest brother's name is actually Jon Basi, because of my dad. So uh, I was very, 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 very close with my dad.
Okay.
He he was a great man. He unfortunately passed away in last year, so about a year ago.
Wow.
But I think when he told me that story, right away I was like, all right, I don't know what that name will be used for yet, but I want to make sure that it's something that can be legacyzed, something that can kind of
Absolutely.
stand the test of time. So it was just fitting, when we decided to kind of go into the spirit route to just keep that name going with it.
I want to say, I'm sorry. My condolences to hear about the passing of your dad. Um, the name is amazing, and that it has such a deep meaning. It's very thoughtful. It's very. I really like your brand. I don't want to overdo it, but I just really think that it's so
Thank
thoughtful. And
you.
I mentioned that to you earlier, and I just really appreciate that. You guys check it out on the website. But let's get back into the interview. So that's the story. So can you tell us? Well, give us an education. Can you tell us, for people who are not traditional tequila drinkers, what do we need to look for? Like, how many tequilas are there? How many types?
So a lot of time you can find, so there's so many different types of tequilas now, but initially, especially to the US market, this level of premium and ultra premium is really only about 70 years old for us,
Oh,
right? So
wow.
you have the Blanco, you have the Reposado, and the Añejo, which are the main three SKUs that you find. So a lot of time people are like, I don't drink dark liquor. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't like. I only drink dark liquor. I don't like light liquor. Um, all liquor starts light. It's as it's aged in the barrel over that process of time is what kind of gives it its color. So the
Okay.
main three SKUs that you'll find is the Blanco, the Reposado, and the Añejo. Um, right, like we decided to do Tequila One because it's it was it was our drink of choice.
Yeah.
All through college, wherever I go, like if I'm coming to the function, I'll probably have a bottle of tequila with me. Um, but it's also, a lot of people don't know this. I just kind of feel like it's the healthiest spirit that you can find. It's distilled from a fruit,
Hmm.
unlike a lot of the other spirits that you find. So when you're looking for a good one, you want to make sure that you're looking for that 100% blue agave
Okay.
um, term on there, because then you're not mixing it with any of these different additives, and a lot of times the sweeteners and all of these different mixes is what kind of gives people that hangover and that headache. That's why
Ah,
that's why
okay.
tequila has a bad rep.
That's
But
what
if
it
you
is.
That's what it is. But if you go and you find that 100% blue agave tequila, you will definitely feel better in the morning
Okay, so I might
than
have
if
a
you were
chance
drinking something else.
because, whew, okay. So that's great. That's something good to know.
Yeah.
I want to find out, how many types do you carry?
So right now we only have a Blanco on the market
Okay.
because we really wanted to take our time with the brand, and we really wanted to make sure that we were kind of remaining authentic to our formula and profile. So we've been aging our Blanco for, and usually it's about 9 months, but we've gone over a little bit due to COVID. So
Yeah.
it's we're at about ten months right now with our Reposado, and our Añejo is going to be following shortly after. So we're going
Oh,
to hopefully release the full SKU by 2021. So we'll have the Blanco, the Repo, and the Añejo out. which I'm excited about because añejo is personally my favorite.
Why is that?
And
What's that one? How does that taste in comparison to the blanco?
so I think it give the our añejo specifically. I can't give too many of the keys about what we
Oh
did to
boy.
it, but but when you taste the flavor punch that is really in this, and I'm a sipper, right? I like to sip my tequila. I like to put it on,
Mm,
I don't even put it on the rocks, but with the blanco I usually put it on the rocks. The añejo I can drink it neat. So the flavors are just bold. You can taste the richness of the agave, but then you have the
mm.
notes of the barrel that really give it that caramel taste, that vanilla taste, those hints of it still keeps the hint of citrus though. So it's an exciting drink. I'm excited to kind of release that and see how people respond to it. But that's definitely my drink of choice.
Sorry, I got a little allergies.
I feel you. Me
Oh
too.
my goodness.
Me too.
So I'm glad that you went over like the different flavor profiles because I think that's something that people probably the average person is going to shy away. You're not going to be thinking about, hey, there are different ways that this tequila can taste and I can have a different experience or even like you pointed out, hey, maybe you won't get a hangover if you start with the blanco versus going with, something a little bit more aged. So I think that's amazing and I would be excited to see from you just some type of classes or something like to really educate us on it. I think that would be super dope. I think that would be really fun.
Yes,
So
definitely in the plans.
I know that you guys or I know that you are selling strictly in Illinois, so is
Mhm.
there going to be movement in terms of other areas, other states?
Yeah. So we started this super grassroots.
Okay.
So it was a very small boutique brand that we wanted to kind of build up over time. So that's kind of why we started in our home state, Illinois. We just wanted to make sure that we had home completely locked. It was rolling. It was smooth, which I feel comfortable with now. I
Yep.
think Illinois, we kind of have some strong roots. Sorry about that.
That's
My
okay.
pet got here.
It's okay.
But now we're definitely looking towards expansion. So 2021, I'm excited for that. And we're really going to go with a lot of the spaces where you can kind of feel the culture of tequila, right? So it's warmer places. We're going to be checking out Florida with emphasis on Miami. We're going to be going to California with
Oh yeah.
emphasis on LA. But we're also going to go to New York, and we're also going to go down to Georgia and make sure that it's in Atlanta as well. So
National campaign. Awesome.
national campaign. Yep,
That's
national
amazing.
campaign.
Let me ask you. So you're in this industry, you're young, you're black, you're male. How has the industry been to you? Have you had challenges, trying to get your brand in stores? What's that been like for you?
Um, so the liquor industry in general is, I would say, very tight knit. If you think about it, right, like Illinois was this is Capone's territory, so it was extremely tight knit back then, and it was extremely who you know. Um, and I was kind of prepared for that. I kind of knew that going into it, and I was expecting that, which was strategically uh, part of the plan was to make sure that we had somewhere where we could have a home base, right? So Kimbark Liquors has been huge for us. Matson Wine and Spirits have been
Yeah.
huge for us, and Kimbark Beverage, that's black owned. Um, I was able to meet the owners, and I really kind of built a nice relationship with them over just working with Jack Daniels at the Hyde Park Brew Fest.
Nice.
And my partner's family in Matson, we knew that we would have a couple of locations that would support and carry our brand and our product. Um, and we knew that we could kind of drive traffic or drive our audience and consumers towards purchasing it at these locations as we
Yeah.
were kind of getting started. So I think those were a huge help to us, definitely. And I think anybody trying to go into the spirits industry should kind of think about figuring out strategic ways where they know that they can make that product available. And I think over time, as we started to really kind of show the support that we were getting and really started to have a lot of those word of mouth referrals of the brand and product, we started to grow, and people started to give us more chances. There were definitely hurdles,
Yeah.
especially I think the liquor industry is also an older business for the most part.
Mhm.
So a lot of times, I used to go from my 9 to 5 gig, which is consulting, and I would hit a few stores afterwards. And a lot of times, some of the store owners would be like, "Okay, but I want to speak with the owner. I need to cut a
Wow.
deal, something, something of the sort." And I was like, "Okay, I'm here.
That's
Hey, how
me.
you doing?" So I think people don't expect it a lot of times, being young, first of all, black,
Yeah.
and two, um, just from the city of Chicago. I think people don't really um, expect it or understand how
Yeah.
or they question whether the brand or the product is as premium um, until we show it to them and until they taste it and try it. And I think we always try to let the product speak for itself. And once we get our initial foot into the door, and the gatekeeper can try the product, I think it really helps open things up. So it's been tough,
Awesome.
but we've managed to overcome the hurdles, definitely.
Well, I think this is going to be an amazing year for you. I feel like with all the unfortunate things, right, that have
Yeah,
happened, we've had a rough 2020, but I think that within that, there's definitely opportunity and people are more aware. So I
right,
really feel
right.
like, this might be your time to shine, like really just, I'm just excited. I'm excited to see how it all plays out. I do want to ask
Thank
you,
you.
yeah, I want to ask you, what are the price points? So after this, I want to tell everybody, we definitely need to be supporting you. So what can we expect to see in terms of price point?
So right now you can find our Blanco, and it should be on sale in some locations. I know Kimbark and Benny's has it on sale. Matson has it on sale. It's about $32.99 at those locations. But for the most part, it really depends on which area you're in or which store you're
Yep,
in. But you should see it anywhere from $33, $34 to about 36, 37.
amazing. Okay, and last question: how can we support you? What can we do? To just kind of make this thing really take off because it's already taken off. But what can we do to, further support you?
Besides this, which has been amazing, thank you so
Oh, thank
much,
you.
Lisa.
Thank you.
Definitely a huge support. Um, I would say word of mouth goes so far, because you trust it when you know someone, and someone is kind of telling you about a product that they actually enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
Um, and you have that relationship with that person, you trust it more, right? And it gives you that incentive to really try it out for yourself. So I think word of mouth is huge for us, and um, that's a huge way to support. Just telling a friend about it,
Okay.
showing up to the family barbecues or the Thanksgiving gatherings whenever we finally do all get to kind of be together freely. But
Yeah.
showing up with a bottle of Jon Basil and having people try it as opposed to some of the more prominent brands. I think that definitely helps support. And then, right now we're in a crazy time and a crazy period of time where we have the opportunity to speak directly with our audience and
Yeah.
engage with our communities directly. So, um, any support via social media goes a long way. So just sharing a post, liking a post, sending it to a few friends goes so far.
And where can they go on Instagram and Facebook to follow the different platforms?
So all of the ats are at Jon Basil Tequila. So that's John with a JON BASIL Tequila. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, just now getting into Twitter. I'm slowly starting to build the team now, so we should start having a lot more hands on deck. So hopefully our digital presence starts to grow, and our presence around the city really starts to grow, making us easy to find.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you came on. Super easy to talk to. And I just want to say to everyone, let's go out, let's flood the stores, let's support him, because people are definitely getting together, still celebrating. So, let's
Yes,
be careful, but let's still celebrate and have a good time. So
yes,
definitely want to thank you again for coming on. Let's talk soon, and I hope you have a great evening.
you too. Thank you, Alicia. It was fun.
Thank you.
Talk
All
soon.
right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Definitely interested in supporting Black businesses that make sense, that have quality brands. And it's always good to know the person behind the brand. Just for me personally, I just like to know the person who is behind the brand, who's taking my money. I just like to know. And he seems like an amazing person. So let's support him. I want to thank you all once again for supporting me, theurbankey.com. Have a big announcement coming up shortly, which I'll announce in the next couple of days or so. So once again, want to thank you all for supporting me. Follow me on all platforms at theurbankey.com. And I hope you have a good evening.